Hi all, welcome to Coding Tricks. In this video, we'll see how to use React hooks. First of all, we'll see what is React hook. React hook is nothing but a hook for state. Okay, so if you see a React component, if you want to use a state flow, you can do using class components. So without class component, you cannot do state flow. Okay, so that gap has been filled in React hooks. So with function components itself, you can use the state. Not only state, you can also use some of the events which are supported in class component. So most popularly in class component, we have component did mount, component did update, component will unmount. These are the events available. So without class component, these events cannot be certain events, like if you want to fetch data from your service and all those things, we used to write in component edit mount. But that gap can be filled by using UseEffect. UseEffect is one of the React hook. Okay, using that we can combine all these three events: component did mount, component did update, component will unmount. All these three events can be filled with UseEffect. So to understand this, we need to know what are some of the features of ES6, like destructuring of array and also arrow functions. Okay, so I will explain all these things uh, in this video with the help of existing class component, and I will convert that class component into a functional component. Okay, so let me create a sample project to showcase this behavior. Okay, I will hit this enter button until this created. Okay, I need to change the name of this. I cannot use capital names. Okay, uh, this will take a while until this created. Okay, I have given this command wrong. Okay, this will take a while, so until this created, I'll pause this video. Okay, so let me start this. Let me start my Visual Studio Code. Okay, React hook sample project has created. So to use the React hook, first I will create a normal component with a simple state. When I that component will have a button. When I click on that button, automatically the state will changed and my UI also will get changed. Okay, so that is the sample. I will do it. To do that, I will create a new file. I'll name it as counter.js. In this, I will import React from React, export default. I will create class name as counter and extends a React component, and here I will create a constructor, and that constructor will have a super class, and I will have a state, this dot state, and this will have a variable called count, and it will have initial value of 1. Okay, so this I have created it. Now I'll create a render method. Inside this render method, I will have return statement, and this will have a simple div. and inside this div I will place button. The button will have click here, and I will create on click event, and I will name it as event handle click function. I have written it. This function I will bind it here, and in this button this dot set state, and I will have a state variable, and which actually return change state. The state will be count colon this dot state dot count have one. Okay, to since I'm not using arrow functions, I have to bind this, otherwise I'll get an error. This dot handle click equal to this dot handle click dot bind of this. Okay, so I have used this. Now let me run quickly and we'll see. Sorry, I have to point to that folder. My server is started. Okay, so this is running fine, but my component is not rendered, so I have to call this component inside my app. So what I will do, I will just take it off the existing, and instead I will use my own component. Import counter from, and I will use that component here. Hopefully this should be rendered. Okay, it's rendered. Okay, this is fine, it's running fine, but it is not displaying anything here. So since I'm not displaying anything here, so that I will display it here. This dot state dot count. See, you are seeing the state is getting updated. So this is a simple class component. Using the class component, I have done the state. The same thing I will change into a functional component with state usage. To do that, I will comment this part. Okay, I will use functional component. To do that, first you need to use something called use state. Okay, this is actually a hook provided by React to hook the React component with state, React functional component with state. Okay, after that I will do export default. Okay, and function I'll name it as counter. Okay, and this function will have to use the state. To use the state, I will declare a constant, and this will have two values. Value, sorry, I will name it as count, and what are the variables I've declared? Count, and I will name it as set count. Okay, these two are the things I have to take, and this I have to take from use state. So use state initially 0. Okay, so this is I'm using here array destructuring. This will give you array of count. Count is nothing but my value inside my state. Okay, set count is the function which will actually change my state, nothing but this state, set state object. So this will change my state of my object. So initially I have assigned state as 0 since I want to use a counter. Okay, here you can have string, you can have anything, you can also have an array. Okay, so initial state I have declared it as 0. So after that I will do return statement. Inside the return statement I will write a div. Okay, inside the div I will place the same thing, and inside this I will have something called value to be displayed. The value I will display it as count. I have defined, I placed it here count. Okay, that's all I have converted. So in this handle function, I'll just take it off. I'll use let handle click. I'm using arrow function, and I will call set count plus 1. That's all I'm doing it. Okay, let me run this and we'll see. So this is running. See, it is working as before. You don't see any difference. Okay, so this is a simple React hook with state. So use state is one example for use state can be used for state manipulation. So instead of this state, set state, and all those things, the entire class component has converted as a simple function component. So that is hooks. So it will reduce the code of a class component, and it is very easy to use, and it can be used seamlessly anywhere, with state, without state, without having any class component. That is the advantage of having React hooks. So another React hook we'll see, that is UseEffect. Okay, so as I mentioned, UseEffect is actually replace the events which are present in a class component. In a class component we have events like component did mount, component did unmount, a component did update, component will unmount, will component will unmount. These are the events. Okay, so all these three events are replaced with UseEffect. Okay, I will write it down here. What are all the events? It is replacing it. So since we are using a class functional component, we need to have the same capability of what React component is having. So component did mount is one event, component did update is another event, component will unmount is another event. So all these three events are replaced with UseEffect in React hooks. So when you are using a functional component using the UseEffect, you can mimic this behavior. Okay, so to do that I will show you a simple example, okay, of using UseEffect, how to use. So for that I will use an existing API. Okay, that existing publicly hosted API, and that API will give you, so that means from my function component I'll make a call to API, and that API will give the results in JSON format. I will take the data and I'll display it on my form. Okay, so with UseEffect, so UseEffect, I have a function here, so I have to use arrow function. I've used it. Inside that I have to do that. To do that, first I will use Axios. Okay, let it be, I have to install Axios, npm install. It will take a while. Okay, package has been added. So I will take this NGOs. Okay, so here using Angios I will make get call. I will make. Okay, so to make the get call I need to know JSON placeholder. This is the one I want to use it, and here I have a function called post. Okay, this get method I'll be using it here. To use that I will place it here. Okay, and after that I need to have then, and inside this then I will get the data. So data I will get it data, and this data I will assign to my set count. Set count data dot data. It is actually, it will give you data dot data. That means I have to assign. So this will give you a data of the data object, the data object having inside data. So that I have assigned it here. Okay, so I have assigned to my set state. Okay, this is the simple thing I have done that. Okay, so I have assigned, that's all. And I will have to redefine this. I will define this, and I will change this to value, or maybe I will change this as data, something like any name I can give it. So I will take it off this handle click code, and here I will take it off this thing, and instead I will place a simple div. Inside this div I will have a p tag, and inside this tag I will have, I'm just doing some little bit fancy things to showcase. So I will actually display it here. So display that, I have to do that. So before doing that I need to actually manipulate my data object to the I will take data dot map function I will use, and inside this map function I will have this, and this will return, and I will return this. Okay, and inside this I will place this entire code. Title and x dot title. Similarly I will use another div, and I will take it off this div. Here I will mention it as body, and I will use body tag here. Okay, so let me run this and see whether it is working. Okay, I have stopped the service. Let me run this. Okay, it is working fine, and it is placing my object, I mean it is placing my data. Okay, let me see, is everything fine? Inspect. Okay, so one problem is coming as each child in a list should have unique key. Okay, that I can fix it. I need to add a key, and along with that we'll also see. Okay, so there is a problem. If you see it here, continuously my event is getting hit. That means it is hitting this particular API, and every time it is going to an infinite loop. Okay, this is a problem here because I have done a simple mistake. So normally what happens is when you use effect, so use effect is replacing all these events, right? So whenever there is a change in this my object, automatically this event will be executed. Use effect will be executed. Initially my value, I'm initially I'm fetching values from my data array, and the data array is giving me values, and each time my value is getting changed. When the value changed, this event will be triggered. Again value change, this event will, so this is going in an infinite loop. So to fix this problem, I need to give I need to use a simple trick that I will give something like this. So if you give this trick, that means I'm setting initially the value as empty. After that I'm having a value, so that the value will not be refreshed every time. This is the simple trick I have to use. So if you observe it now, it is not hitting continuously, and it is stopped. It is hitting only first time. So it is hit only first time and the data has come. So this is simple use effect. Okay, so we also have something called use reduce. Okay, so use reduce is inspired from React Redux. In a simple Redux application, how we use uh, uh, Redux actions, reducers, and other things. Same way we can mimic that behavior using use reducer uh, hook. Okay, so before that, here if you observe it here, I'm using then, but there may be question that can I use async await. Okay, well, let us see what happens if I use async. Okay, I will take it off this, and instead I will use var item, and in front of this I will use await. Okay, and here I will use set count item dot data. Okay, we'll see whether it works. Okay, it's working fine. Let me give something key here. I will define a key. The key I will define it as x.id. Okay, the problem is solved, but it is showing something here. Effect callbacks are synchronous to prevent the race condition. Put the async function inside. Okay, so it is saying, it is showing me a warning. It is saying I am not supposed to use async function inside my use effect. Okay, so that is the warning it is showing it. That means I cannot use async function like this, because since it, as it mentioned, synchronous to prevent race conditions, so I need to write something like this. So what I will do, I will do fetch. So I will declare a let fetch, and okay, and I will make this as async, and inside this I will use set data async await, and this fetch function I will call inside my use effect without having async keyword. So now hopefully that error message should go off. Okay, if you observe it, that error message, that warning has gone. You don't see that warning at all. Okay, it is working fine. So still I think I have to have this key here. Okay, this is fine. Now the problem has solved, and you don't see the key error also. It is all working fine. Okay, so it is all working fine, and this is the way you should use async await. You cannot use inside the use effect, since it is a synchronous way to control the behavior of all these events. So that is the reason you have to call outside async and use it. Okay, so in another video I will explain how to use reducers and how that can be used with the React hooks. Okay, hope you liked my video. If you like this video, please hit like button, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Okay, thank